a playlist original.
Hey, what's up? It's your host, Torry, and who is ready to be petty? Welcome back to another episode of RTBB. I'm so glad you're here. Before we get to today's episode, I have a few things I want to chat about. First off, I did see that Harry and Olivia broke up, and I'm going to talk about that on episode 120 next Sunday with TikTok pop culture commentator Jordy Cray. But I have seen that, and I have lots of thoughts, but I'll save that for next episode. And then in this episode, I used the word baggage when I was referring to like Emily Ratajowkski and other women dating Pete Davidson. And I was listening back and I really regret that choice of words. I just meant like lived experience or whatever. But yeah, I didn't really like how the way that came out. And then let's do a quick Taylor Swift versus the Swifties versus Ticketmaster update, because we talk about that in the episode, but there is a few updates. So Taylor Swift did release a statement. This was on Friday, so the day after we recorded, and it is a Instagram story, which I thought was like already a little bit suspicious, because I feel like people who release Instagram story statements like knows that they disappear, so they're like not on their grid or their website or whatever, so like people can't just see it and remember it. So I was like, okay, that was like a specific choice. And I was really surprised because she does definitely mention that 2.4 million people got tickets, which was a record, which I was like LOLing about because I said I'm about to say that in the podcast. But what I was really surprised about was she really puts the blame on Ticketmaster, which I thought was really interesting because obviously artists need a good relationship with this company that has a monopoly on all of the big stadiums in the US. She does allude to providing more opportunities, so maybe that's releasing the international legs or more shows, but they have not released any information about selling tickets to the general population that was canceled on Thursday. Ticketmaster apologized to Taylor Swift on Twitter and released some information about why it didn't go as planned, which is interesting because they posted on November 17th, removed the information, and then edited it and reposted it on November 18th. So there's some like key differences to their statements. In the new like FAQ, they do talk about how Taylor's team tried to do what's right for their fans and add more shows and do the verified fan presale, etc. They talked a lot about the system and how there's disruptions because of how many people were on the website, and in almost every case they changed saying Taylor in their statements to proper legal title like 13 management, etc. So it's been a few days after this whole debacle. So I want to know how you feel. Are you feeling still like you were ripped off? Do you still want to get tickets if you haven't got them? Just let me know. Do you think it's still on Ticketmaster's fault or Taylor's fault? I'm really curious to know. The last thing we need to do before we get to today's episode is our Patreon shout out. So I'm going to shout out two patrons, Catherine A and Catherine J. Catherine A and I first connected over the use of Chloe's beta blockers, which literally seems like a lifetime ago. But I just want to say thank you so much for being an official Petty Betty. I appreciate you so much. And Catherine J, or as everybody obviously knows her on here as @always_striving_for_better. I so appreciate that you always submit questions, always submit topics, and I really like getting that listener involvement and like to be able to check in where you are all at and what you're interested in talking about. So I appreciate you so much. On this week's episode of Patreon, I'm talking with Shannon from Fluently Forward and Cam from What I Will Say about celebrity religions like Kabbalah, and sure we'll touch on Scientology and maybe Hillsong. So that was a requested topic from the patrons. So I'm really excited to deep dive into that with those two special guests. Okay, let's get to today's show. Here's my conversation with Bailey. I'm back with a very special guest. Bailey from the Kinda Cute podcast is here. Bailey, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be back. I was telling Torry this is only my second time being a guest. The first time was also on her show. So I'm very happy to be here.
Happy for you to be back. Last time you were on, we were talking about the Kardashians slash like when Kim photoshopped True.
Yeah.
True over Stormy.
Yes.
Yeah. Wild.
And, I just saw, funny enough, a TikTok of her photoshopping in like a little Hermes bag, like a little pink Hermes bag.
Yes.
And you know what? It actually goes with our conversation because last time she said it was because she wanted to keep the pink theme going. So I'm like, you know what? Now I kind of believe her. I think she just really wants the pink in her Instagrams.
100%. Yeah. I'm still like a little bit sus that it was like at Disneyland. Their show in Canada and I think internationally is on Disney Plus, and a lot of them dressed up as like Disney characters or Disney adjacent characters for Halloween. But I agree, the color thing is like probably my number one theory, because I saw the bag thing and then like I literally went to her page and she clearly needed like some type of like guiding theme, and we've seen her house and shit, like she's nuts for everything to be perfection. So
exactly,
I believe it.
But again, I love the conspiracy theory about it being a Disney capitalism grab. Like,
yeah,
I think they can both be true.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's such a good point. But yeah, it's funny because it's like people, Kim, really don't notice that thing. Like,
no,
I don't know. I wish I could just start shit posting on Instagram, but maybe I'm just like Kim too. I just can't.
I feel you. I was looking at my Instagram. I'm like, I think I posted like 4 times this year. And I'm like, what do you do, girl? Like, you want to be an influencer? You got to post more than once every 5 months.
I'm literally dead because I talk about that all the time. I'm like, why am I not a famous influencer? It's like, Torry, you haven't shown your face on the internet in like 2 years. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, so on Kinda Cute, you dissect pop culture articles from The Cut and just like pop culture in general. Do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about your podcast?
Yes, well, that was a great recap of it. I'm a lawyer by trade, but I hate being a lawyer. I love pop culture. And so my podcast, it's just like a fun escape, and I have really had fun doing it. I know Ready to Be Petty just turned 4. Kinda Cute just turned 3. So, we've been around for a little while now.
Honestly, love that for us. Yeah, consistency is key. I read like literally one the cut article, and I like sent it to you. I was like, it was the Meghan Markle one. I was like, just like trying to be involved. Like,
their articles are very fun. I do recommend them if you're not involved in them yet. Like, they are very fun. I like the tone of their articles. So
yeah,
they inspired the podcast, and years later they're still going, and we're still going. So it's
nice. Nice. So today we're going to dive into some really exciting things. We're going to talk about Rada and Pete Davidson. Paul Mescal. I always say Mescal because of the alcohol. Paul Mescal and Daisy. Is it Edgar-Jones?
Yes.
And then I feel like we should talk about them first, and then we should get into the Ticketmaster versus the Swifties controversy.
Oh, yeah, because I'm ready to rant about that. I am ready.
Okay, I'm so glad. I was like texting some of my friends. We'll get into this. And I was like, I have a lawyer on the show, and we're going to like get into it. They're like, oh, that's such an interesting angle. I was like, okay.
No, see, I wasn't even going to go at it from that angle. I just am going at it as like a sworn fangirl.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. That's great. That's great. And then Bailey is going to nominate a Pettyweight Champion of the Week and a This Week in Petty. Okay, so Rada, or Emily Ratajowkski, was spotted with Pete Davidson, which this is becoming, I swear to God, like a bad joke like nowadays.
Oh yeah.
Like it's unbelievable. So Dumois, the blind item Instagram account, broke that they were spotted hanging out on Sunday in New York, and there was no pictures or anything, and people were just like, again, like, haha, April Fools. There's no fucking way that these two are like dating. By Wednesday, TMZ had broke pictures. What do you think of this rumored couple?
Well, I totally agree with you about it seeming like a joke. Like, it literally seems like we're all getting punked by just all of Hollywood, the girls and Pete Davidson included.
Yes.
Like, they're both in on it. But I have quite a few thoughts about this. First off, I looked at the TMZ photos today. Yes. They were kind of wearing like matching sweatpants.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're already matching and we're at like 1 month in this relationship. That's interesting. She was holding a wrapped gift because she was on the way to his 29th birthday party.
Yes, because he just turned 29.
Yes. So my theory is that the gift she was holding is a book. I think M. Arata really loves to, like, she always quotes books. Yeah, yes. Quotes books that she's read from. So I don't have a prediction on what exactly book she was giving him, but that's what I think it was, which is cute. I like that. You know, it's not like over the top, not too expensive, shows something that she cares about, wants him to be into. I like it. You know, she just started her own podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yes. High low or whatever.
Exactly. And I think she's very much in that stance of like any publicity is good publicity.
Mm-hmm.
And she had Julia Fox on one of her earlier episodes, the queen of a PR relationship. Yeah. So Emily is playing the game, you know, beautifully. She's getting to play the game, and she's getting a side of BDE. And she's also famously said she's into sex. So she gets that. Yes. She's famously into kind of ugly people. Like, I'm sorry, like her husband was not really a looker.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So sorry to dump all of my thoughts all at once, but
no,
that's
I love this.
That's what I have on this relationship.
No, I get that. I agree that, like, I think she was kind of like, oh my God, my husband was like cheating on me. This is like kind of tragic. I don't know. I feel like she's had ups and downs in her career. Like, I just feel like she's only, I don't know, I guess she was like maybe B-list, and I feel like she's making a push for A-list. And I don't know. I just think, why wouldn't she date Pete Davidson at this point? Because it gives you that extra boost. And they were wearing matching outfits. It like always pisses me off when like celebs like Emily Ratajowski are wearing what I wear every single day, a pair of Asics sneakers, a pair of gray sweatpants, and a black puffer, but people are like checking in on my mental well-being, and people were like, what a fit, like going to your boyfriend's house like late night in this like cute outfit. But yeah, I love the book thing. She was talking about how she gave Julia Fox like a book on like feminism or something like that.
Yeah.
On her pod, which I was like dying. Do you think the book could be on feminism?
Totally. Honestly, if I had to guess, that's what I would go with. That seems to be
so
the theme.
Funny. That's so fucking funny.
And I also wonder if, you know, her sweatpants that definitely looked like literally like the Walmart ones, or like the ones you can get off Amazon.
Yeah, again,
but
like
they're probably
my
like
aesthetic.
$600 sweatpants.
Yes, 100%.
Like, you know, she's getting sent the good shit, even though it's not any better, but it has like a different label, so it's, you know, charged.
Totally. I want to bring like the Kim Kardashian piece into this, because I do feel like Emily Ratajkowski does have more of like a Pete Davidson vibe to her. Like, I feel like she's a lot more low key, whereas like I just watched the most recent episode of The Kardashians, which was so fucking weird because everyone on TikTok has been talking about how Pete was edited out of the show. And then the week that he is on, he's back like dating some new chick. Like, I don't know. It's too coincidental for me, or maybe I'm just like drinking the like blind item Kool-Aid, but Kim just seemed so uptight, which like is fine, and like just going to like 1,000 events, and Pete was saying like how exhausting it was, and I just feel like he would want a more low-key celeb like Emily Ratajowski.
I totally agree. I think this is so in both of their lanes. Like to me, out of all the people Pete has dated, this honestly makes the most sense for me. And on her side of it too. Like I said, I get it. Like I get it completely.
Yeah.
But I also agree with you that I think she is definitely making a bid to be A-list, which is kind of ironic when I think that Pete would be better off with someone who's a little bit more under the radar, like you said. So it's like this weird, almost power play where it's like she sees the social gain that he can give her. And at the same time, I feel like he wants someone who's not on the same level as Kim.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I think they're both getting what they want out of this. And she's gorgeous. I mean, she is literally one of the prettiest people I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, truly mine too. That's the other thing. I feel like it's like when you go from someone like Kim Kardashian, it's like, who can you date next? Obviously, a model. Like, that's your only option. There was a Reddit post because I was perusing Reddit this morning about how he like possibly like targets women when they're in like a vulnerable stage in their life. Like Ariana was like post like Mac Miller and the Manchester terrorist attack. Kim was post Kanye. Emily just got divorced from her husband. Like, do you see any validity to this, or do you think it's like, well, every person in their 30s and shit is gonna have, or 20s and 30s is gonna have baggage?
Oh my God. I love that you brought this up because I had actually not heard of this theory before. I fucking love Reddit. I go to Reddit for everything. I'm always like, you know what? I couldn't find that answer anywhere, but I found it on Reddit. So I love that. I think there's so many valid points that get brought up on there. And I totally agree with this. And on the same note, have you been watching this season of White Lotus?
No, but I think I'm going to, because not for like the gratuitous dick shots of Theo James. I really want to point that out there, but I kind of am in my Theo James era because I was on a plane like a month ago. Basically the only thing on the TV screens that I could watch was The Time Traveler's Wife.
Okay. I didn't see that one. I saw like the original movie, but not the TV show.
Okay. It is, I would say it is actually probably for the gratuitous nude shots of Theo James watching that show, because it's like literally he's a time traveler that like disappears out of his clothes. But it's on like HBO Max. It's really good. I think it's a good show. And so I was like, okay, I'm kind of in my Theo James era. And then he came out as like a star on White Lotus. So I didn't watch season 1, even though like, I don't know, I kind of want to because I'm a big Survivor girl and it's created by Mike White. Yeah. Yes. But so maybe I'll start it. But yeah, I haven't yet. Anyways, that's all to say, no. I have not seen season 2 of White Lotus.
You should, and you can start watching season 2 without seeing season 1. And so far the only dick shot of Theo James was like very much in passing, and his character is so unappealing that like it's not sexy. Like his character is awful. I mean, he looks good while doing it, but his character is awful. But to bring this back to Pete, there is a character in it who they kind of are setting him up as like this good guy, like the nice guy trope, right? And he is on this date with this girl who's an assistant to a person staying there, Jennifer Coolidge's character, like her assistant. And they're on a date and he says to her, you know, I really like pretty wounded birds. And when he says that, I'm just like, this man, and so many people on TikTok have been saying this too. They're like, oh, he is shady. Like he is going to be the guy who says he's a nice guy, seems all nice, and it turns into a total dick. Right.
Yeah.
And I think actually that is kind of what Pete Davidson likes. I totally agree. He wants a pretty wounded bird. And I'm not saying that Pete Davidson is going to turn into a dick down the line. I think genuinely people seem to really like him as a person. And I think he's wounded himself. But it just, that's like immediately where my mind went. That is definitely a trope that plays out in real life.
Yeah, 100%. That's so interesting. The toxicity is wild. didn't write this in our notes, but because I literally just saw this on TikTok, but there has been rumors that Kim and Pete were still talking or secretly seeing each other, etc. And I saw a TikTok that when these TMZ photos were released of him and Emrata, Kim immediately posted a bunch of pictures from Halloween and with like a bunch of roses. And people are like, maybe Pete sent Kim those roses because he had sent her, I guess, a similar bouquet. And how we knew it was from him. This sounds so insane that I'm saying this out loud. Like, this is really insane. But like, there was a jasmine candle, like jasmine, like the scent candle in front of them. So then people were like, okay, it's like from him. And then, so there was like, wait, so there's the flower shots. And then a few hours later, on the Kim and North TikTok page, they post a duo together, and it's using the song Hot and Cold by Katy Perry.
Great song.
Such a good song. Do you think that this is the biggest reach of all time? Or do you think the underlying message of her choosing that song and deciding to post these pictures of her standing in front of these bouquets are direct signs that she was still talking to Pete Davidson?
Oh, so this is like always the problem to me. It's like the duality of the Kardashians, right? Because I believe both could be equally true. And this is what I always struggle when we talk about any sort of like Kardashian theory, because they so know how to use social media and to kind of play into the narrative. And, you know, on the TikToks, like the comments are turned off. So I feel like it makes it even more likely that people are going to stitch it and take it in their own direction, right? And I think the Kardashians like when they light a fire like that for people to get talking. So while I do think it could be true, 100%, like I wouldn't doubt that Pete was still sending her flowers and whatever. Like, why not? He would do that. But do I think that she could be playing into it? And could that have been a very conscious choice of song? Yeah, like I really do. I don't doubt either.
Yeah, that's so true. I just love it. Like, it's so frustrating, but it's so fun at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I love dissecting minutia like that. Like, it never gets old.
Totally. Anything else you want to say about Emrata and Pete Davidson? Like, maybe let's talk briefly, and then we can move on to Paul and Daisy. But, like, do you think that – so I'm assuming we both think it's a PR relationship.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think they could legitimately be into each other.
Yes. Okay. I think it's the same as, like, Kim and Pete and like other celebs that are probably PR, but they also just like each other. Like I do think that that's the way it is. Do you see this being like a one-time thing, or do you think we're gonna see like similar to Pete and Kim, like 6 months of content and then they'll break up? In quotes.
Yeah, I think they'll ride it to kind of its climax. Who knows? I could be eating my words. They could be married next year. But yeah. I think like the vibe I get from Emrata from her TikTok is that she's very much in her single girl era. Like I don't see her wanting to be tied down seriously with someone right now. Like she has a young kid. She always is joking about like stepfather applications in her DMs. Yeah. So I think she's having fun with it. I don't think she wants to be like, for lack of a better term, wifeyed up, you know, right away.
Yeah, I agree. Well, cheers to both of you. Can't wait. Can't wait for, more TMZ pictures, more Reddit threads, more convos in my texts. Like,
yes, truly. I'm eagerly awaiting too.
Same. Okay, on to another couple, Paul and Daisy. Paul Mescal and Daisy Edgar-Jones. Famously from the hit TV show Normal People. Did you watch Normal People?
Okay, I have not seen Normal People or Fleabag. I feel like a fake fan. I know.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm chronically depressed. So it makes sense that I've seen and stan both of these shows.
Okay, but I'm chronically depressed too. But that's why I medicate and I stay away from sad shit.
Literally. Okay, I famously cannot watch anything sad. Like anything, even, I agree.
So
I
I
can't.
watched, okay, so with normal people, it's a lie to say I haven't seen it because I think I watched the first like 1.5 episodes.
Yeah.
And it was so slow and so much heavy breathing and staring at each other that
I love that though.
That felt like a fanfic to me. I was like, I couldn't, and I don't even think I got to like the sexy part everyone's talking about. Like everyone's like, it's so hot. Like there's so many good sex scenes. And I'm like, I was just seeing a lot of heavy breathing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like there's so many other shows that if you want good sex scenes that you can watch without getting into like the depressing shit that normal people brings up. But I haven't read the book, but I do stand by that it is a good show. One of my group chats has had a conversation about this, about how it's a bad show. And I'm like, no, I think it's good. But Paul, like, well, both of these actors really blew up from this. Paul especially being like, you know, just like an it boy, like very much lusted after, kind of in the same shoes as Pete Davidson once upon a time. And he has been dating Phoebe Bridgers for a really, really long time. Like
they're engaged now, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
Confirmed? Okay.
Yes, I think it's confirmed. It might also just still be rumored, but like, so they've been dating for like, I would say like over a year. You can actually see they did their first time meeting was an Instagram Live. And if you really want to like do yourself dirty, go watch that because like it's like almost upsetting to watch.
Because they had like chemistry?
It was so cute. Like it was so cute. Them like flirting with each other. Like it really, watch it on a good day.
I'll say that sounds depressing as shit. Like I'm good.
Yeah, like skip if you're down bad, like seriously. But it's like so cute. Phoebe Bridgers is like, I feel like kind of like a cult classic singer. Like she doesn't have like the fame as someone like Taylor Swift, who we're going to talk about next, but she's like beloved.
And she's opening for Taylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. She was on Nothing New with Taylor on the Red re-records. And so everyone's like, hey, we stan these two. Like, they're Paul and Phoebe, so cute, so cute. But Daisy has been hanging out with them so often, like going to parties with them, etc. And then this Halloween, and I didn't even see this till this week, so I didn't cover it on my Halloween episode, but they both dressed up as the Fleabag titular characters, Fleabag and the Hot Priest, for Halloween. Would you, if you were dating someone, their colleague who they like fake had sex with is like, oh yeah, babe, like, sorry, I'm actually dressing up in a couple's costume with like my colleague. You're okay to go solo right on this one? Okay, what would you say?
My immediate thought was like, that's fucking weird. That's why I started looking into it a little more. And I was like, okay, it made more sense to me once I realized that Paul is in a movie with Andrew Scott, who plays Hot Priest, they're playing lovers. So once I saw that, I was like, okay, I mean, not that really explains why Daisy would be Fleabag instead of Phoebe being Fleabag. But then I was like, okay, maybe you can answer this. Were they at like a cast party that maybe Phoebe like wasn't at, like wasn't able to go to?
Yeah, she's like prepping for the Taylor Swift concert in the US. Paul and Daisy like live in the UK, so like they're just going to a cast party. I have no idea, but like still go as like a fucking soccer player, like,
right? Not a couple's costume,
a nurse or something. Yeah.
Wait, because did they end up together on the show? Like, or is that too spoiler? Like, do Fleabag and Hot Priest end up together, or do they just like?
It is the biggest spoiler of the show. So
okay.
I'll just say, but it has been out for like so many years. So I will say, unless you don't want to be spoiled.
No, I don't care.
Okay, if you don't want to be spoiled, like skip ahead to the next section. There's timestamps in the episode show notes. But basically, Fleabag is like we don't actually get to know her real name, but it's isn't it Phoebe Waller-Bridges?
Yes, like, I confuse those names all the time, but yes.
Me too. So we don't know her real name, but she's referenced as like Fleabag, and she's like a hot mess in the first season, kind of an anti-hero, does a lot of shitty things. And then in season 2, and she talks to the camera, like breaks the fourth wall, like we're her inside her head. And in season 2, she finds a love interest, but he's a priest. Priests famously cannot have sex or like romantic relationships. It's like devastating. It's like very back and forth. He starts, no other character has done this. He starts talking to the cameras and asking why she's like talking to the cameras, basically. So it's kind of like a soulmate thing, I think. And then, but they don't end up together. He goes back to like priesthood or whatever and breaks up with her.
That's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So you're telling me though that they are basically soulmates. So him and his friend Daisy dressed up as soulmates is what I'm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. See, that gives me more context because I didn't really know. Yeah. But yeah, it's fucking weird. I don't know. I've never had a serious relationship, and I like to think that I'd be like, oh yeah, like it's chill. So cool that you have very close girlfriends. Like I like to think because I think I tend to like I think guys who have close female relationships, like if they have sisters or like cousins that are girls or, stuff like that. I think that can make them more empathetic and maybe a better boyfriend. And maybe this like my own patriarchy, like negative thoughts in my head, but I'm just kind of like, I think I do unfortunately have this viewpoint that I'm like, if you're super close with a girl, like you probably want to fuck her. And so that would probably make me insecure. Like, I don't think I'd be like, oh no, you can't hang out with her. Cause obviously Phoebe is friends with Daisy too, but, and for all we know, they could be having threesomes.
Yes. Okay. So that's what people are saying, that they could be a possible thruple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, people are saying that as like a serious like thought.
I don't know. But I was like, you have to be the most, which is like good for you that you have the most like confidence and self-esteem that you can be that secure in your relationship that this doesn't bother you, or they're all dating. It's one or the two. Either Phoebe Bridgers is the coolest chick ever, or they're all dating.
Okay. I think I want to go with they're all dating because that's that's kind of fun. I mean, I would think like, again, this would cause issues because if Phoebe and Paul are engaged now, isn't Daisy going to feel like a little left out? I mean, maybe she doesn't want like marriage in her life, but is that, I don't know enough about like polyamory and thruples and stuff, but I would think if you're a thruple, like if two of you get married, the other one's got to feel left out. I don't know. Three's a crowd, man. That's all I'm saying. It's not for me.
I know. I need to do some more research into ethical non-monogamy, 100%. But like, I don't know. Like, it's just something that I'm like, you're way too cool for me. I'm way too psycho for this. So
did you hear the story about him like freaking out on a fan for like talking about his like nudity? Did you hear this story?
No.
Okay, so he called a fan fucking rude. Like quote fucking rude.
Sounds like something I would say. But okay, but
this is Paul being petty. Maybe this should have been my petty of the week, honestly.
Yeah.
So he said that this like woman, Paul's out with his friends, right? I'm thinking they're at a bar or something. They run into a hen party. Do you guys call it hen party in Canada? Because we call it like a bachelorette party.
Yeah. We call it bachelorette, but I know in like the UK and most of Europe, I think they say hen party. Yeah.
So this lady's at a hen party and she comes up and she says, I didn't think the show was any good, but I saw your willy and I have a photo. And he's like, that was the first time I was really angry. And he's like, I was like, that's fucking rude. It's embarrassing for you. It's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for my friends. And now I have to say no to you, as in like he said no for the picture. Yeah. And I'm kind of like, okay, is it kind of rude to go up to someone and say, I didn't think the show you were in was any good? Yeah.
Yes.
But is it that bad to say, I saw your wee-wee and I have a photo of it? Like, I have not seen this show again, but it sounds like he was showing his wee-wee and I'm sorry, his willy, and she had a picture. Like, I don't know. Like, you put it out there, dude. People liked that show from what I heard because it had like a really good representation of sex scenes, and it had like an intimacy coordinator on set.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like if you put that out there, I mean, is there really any harm in it? I don't know. I feel mixed feelings about it. I know it's disrespectful to do that, but I think she was probably just drunk and like thought it was funny.
and like so excited. This is me approaching Theo James being like, hey.
Yeah, and I think she was probably I just want to be funny, like have a little memorable like laugh with him, have a little crack with him, you know. And it just did not go how she planned. So I feel for this fan. Maybe I should 100%. Be more sympathetic to him, but like,
as a person that like blurts out everything as soon as I have like more than a singular glass of wine, I don't know. I think that's like kind of just like an embarrassing moment. But I know that like actors really get bothered by like, I don't know, these kinds of like fan interactions.
Yeah. Again, I guess I sort of liken it to like, oh, I did something embarrassing on TikTok and then you took a screenshot and we're out and you show it to me. And I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, I put that shit on TikTok. Like,
yeah. And like now I'm super rich and super famous for it.
Right. Exactly. It's a little bit biting the hand that feeds you. Cause I'm like, is there really anything to be ashamed of? Like it is what it is. Like you had nudity and now it's out there, which I think is fine. Like, I don't think there's any shame in actors showing things like unless they're uncomfortable with it. If they're uncomfortable with it, no. But if you're agreeing and you're comfortable with it in the moment, I don't think there's any shame in it. So
totally. Yeah. It's so interesting. I think like the Paul and Andrew Scott, is it a TV show?
No, it's a movie.
A movie that will ruin me. So I'm so thrilled to be a part of this. Like, honestly, it's becoming a cinematic universe. Like, just these absolute like layers that this show is producing. I love it.
And Daisy's in like everything recently, I feel like.
Yeah, she was in Where the Crawdads Sing, and yeah. I didn't see that because of the.
Me neither.
Yeah, because of all the controversy.
Yeah. I was like, I'm good. Don't need to read the book. Don't need to do that.
No.
But I did watch her in the one with Sebastian Stan, Fresh. Did you see that one?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
You saw it?
Yeah.
That was a ride.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah. I know. I need to stick to fucking holiday rom-coms. Like,
I was listening to your episode, your just most recent one when you guys were talking about the Lindsay movie, which I did. I watched it last night. So,
oh my God, what were your thoughts?
Oh God, I have so many. I don't even know where to start. I'm so happy to see Lindsay back. I thought her and Cord Overstreet had no chemistry. I really wanted a duet with her and Cord. Like, I was like, when are they going to sing together?
They both sing. I know. And it's Cord, a fucking Christmas movie.
Exactly. And they both separately did Christmas songs for it. Like, I was looking at Cord's Instagram today, and he released a Christmas song that I think was supposed to be in conjunction with the movie. And then obviously she did Jingle Bell Rock. So I felt like that was kind of a letdown. I want to have a word with the writers of these movies, because I'm like, again, it feels like Hollywood punking us, because I'm like, do they just purposely make it so corny and bad? Like, because I just think there's a way to make, like, you can make things cheesy and cute and make them holiday movie and corny without making them like have the worst dialogue I've ever heard in my life, or like have a dead mom. Like, why does there always have to be a dead mom and a little kid, a girl? Like,
I know. Yeah. Or like the scene where she's skiing and then falling down the cliff, and like the ring gets like pulled off her finger. Like, why? That looks like I made it for like a class project in high school and like submitted that to my English teacher. Like, it was so embarrassing.
You know, the one that got me was the raccoon in the window.
Oh my God, that fucking raccoon. That was me holding a stuffed animal. I'm crouched down below the window and I'm just putting it up in the window. Like, it was so embarrassing. Again, like, I've never edited anything in my life, and I can edit better than the people in this who produced this movie.
God, but I had to say, it wasn't the worst thing I watched on Netflix. I'm sure I'll watch worse. Like, it was fine. And again, I love watching Lindsay on screen. I think she's like entertaining to watch. And
Yeah.
I kind of wish she had come back with a little bit more of a bang, and not have chosen that role. But I think that's probably all she was able to get.
I think so too. And like people have talked about this a little bit, but like it was very much ensemble cast and like everyone had a storyline. And I think they were scared that she wasn't going to like pull through. So
I think she did. I think she totally did.
I think she did too. So I'm hoping, like, I know she has like another 1 or 2 movie deal with Netflix. I'm hoping, like my guest Diana said, like it's more elevated. It's because she's talented. She's super talented. And yeah, I just want to see her in something better.
Yeah. Or you know what? She could just be like the next Vanessa Hudgens of Christmas movies and be making that check. You know, she's probably getting paid good. So
yeah.
I can't blame her.
Yeah. I loved when her and Cord finally kiss and it's a body double.
It was?
Yes.
No.
It starts to like pull back and it 100% is a body double. And I was laughing so fucking hard.
I had to like kind of close my eyes at that part. I get so cringe. I hate watching people like kiss on.
Yeah.
I know we were talking about like sex scenes and shit.
Yeah.
No, I'm so cringe. Like I cannot. I like get embarrassed.
It was embarrassing. Yeah. It was embarrassing.
It was Lindsay had a body double, but it was Cord.
Yes.
Do you
and
think
I was
it's
like, that's fucking cool.
I think it's because she's like newly married and she was trying to be like respectful to her husband? Or...
I thought that and I'm like, if he like, I love it. I'm like, if he cares about this and then I'm like with Daisy and Phoebe and Paul, like it's basically the same shit. And I'm like, how dare they? But like, I thought that was my initial thing. But then I was like, maybe she just like doesn't give a fuck because why would she need to like do like an uncomfortable scene when again she's like the star and she can ask for a body double.
I'm so shook right now. I like need to go rewatch it.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Is her body double like credited? I like the same girl that was like falling down the mountain. Like
it's her with a red wig
over street.
It's just her in a red wig.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so funny. I'm like so excited to look at this afterwards.
Yeah, it's really funny. Okay, we should talk about Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I feel like this is like the juiciest part of the episode. So, are you going to the Eras tour?
I am going to night 1 of the Tampa shows because that's her only place in Florida is Tampa.
Nice.
Which is not super close to me. But I'm still excited. Okay, I'll stop there because like I said, I have a lot to say, but yes, I am going.
Okay. So am I. I got night 1 tickets to Seattle.
Nice.
Which I'm very excited for. Me and 3 people that have been on this podcast, Courtney, Dana, and Lisa, who's been on Patreon, and I are going. So we're like in the lower bowl. I'm very excited. My first Taylor Swift concert.
Oh my God, they're so fun. I've been to 2. I went to Fearless in 1989. And
oh my God.
You know, it's kind of hard because the very first one I went to, I took my 2 little sisters and I was in college at the time. And my youngest sister she's 10 years younger than me. So, I mean, she was like pre-braces, so young. It was her very first concert ever. And we bought tickets like the week before. They were like fine tickets. They were in the lower bowl, but like, you know, at the time that wasn't considered like that great, I feel like, because it wasn't as competitive, right?
Yeah.
And we just so happened, like I had looked nothing up ahead of time. I don't even know if Reddit existed at that point. If it did, I wasn't looking at it, right? To like scope out locations. And Taylor Swift came down our aisle and hugged my sister, and I have a photo of it. So
oh my God,
that was insane. It was like when she was walking to her B stage, she walked down our aisle. So that happened. And then the last tour, 1989, I got tickets off Ticketmaster, but not in the initial sale. Like they must have like released some later on down the line, and it was at the same stadium that this one's going to be at. And I went with my sister. It was Halloween, so that was so fun because everyone's dressed up.
So fun.
I was wearing a matching skeleton costume with my sister. It was like it was kind of crazy because we literally were flying to California like 3 hours after the show ended. So, you know, we were just like on this high. Her mom offered us bottled water. We thought that was our chance. We thought we were going to be taken back to the meet and greet, but she literally tapped me on the shoulder and she was like, honey, do you need some water? That's how hard I was dancing. Like I must have looked insane in the membrane for her to literally tap me on the shoulder and like, are you
for
okay,
Andrea
honey?
to be like,
Do you need
a
water?
sip of water?
Yeah. And same concert, Idina Menzel came out and Taylor was dressed in like a snowman thing and they did Frozen.
Yeah. Yes,
and
I remember.
But the funny part about that is that two of her friends were behind us, Adina's friends. And my sister and I were just so excited, right? Like we were like fangirling. I'm like literally out of law school at this point, but I don't care. I'm a fangirl. I'll be 70 years old and a fangirl.
Of course.
So we're just like so excited. We're like, who's it gonna be? And we realize it's Idina Menzel. And I turn around and I'm like, oh my God, it's fucking Idina Menzel. And her fucking friends behind us were like, oh my fucking God, it's Idina Menzel. Like mocked me.
Oh my God. I
And
thought
these
you were
were-
going to be like, they like took
No.
pictures with us. Like,
No, and
gave
I
us
knew
the scoop.
and I knew that they were her friends because earlier on they were bragging about how they knew who her special guest was going to be. And I was like,
oh my God, that's so obnoxious.
they were so rude. We were also, so all of her friends, like Alessia Cara also performed at that show. Her friends were back there, her family, and Shawn Mendes. He was right behind me and he was not as known back then, but I pointed in his face and I said, oh my God, it's Shawn Mendes. Back to like being an obnoxious fan. Like again, I was just living, right? And he looks at me, he's like, watch the show. And I was like,
oh my God, people are so rude.
Yeah,
or
so
as
it was
Paul would say, fucking rude. Like,
so I had two very eventful Taylor Swift concerts. So I'm like, I know this one. I mean, not to jinx it. I'm not sure it can like live up to that, you know?
No, those are wild stories. I hope that it's like no one's rude to you.
It won't be close enough for anyone to be rude to me. Like I think I'm good. We're in the lower bowl too. Like we're in like 115, but I think it's kind of like almost behind the stage. You know, it's like really on the side.
We're on the side too. But I was like, whatever. God bless that we're even fucking going because it was a nightmare to get tickets.
Yeah, and you know, the other layer of this is that I feel like I begrudgingly worship at the altar of Ticketmaster, right? Like I go to Harry Styles concert. I've spent way too much money on Ticketmaster and I didn't even get a damn fan code. I have put like 3 choices. Like, and I swear everyone else I knew like got one and it's people who never buy concert tickets. And I know it's probably just luck of the draw, but I think that's why people are so mad at the core of it because people are like, I have loyalty not only to Ticketmaster but to Taylor. I mean, I've been a fan of Taylor since her Taylor Swift album came out, and I think, you know, is it stupid for us to get mad over that when it's literally a computer system? But I think people feel really robbed when they're like, I've given so much time and money and effort and I'm sitting here trying to spend more money and I can't even get out of this damn wait line, or I can't get a fan code, you know?
I know. No, I agree. It like starts to feel personal, even though like it truly isn't. So we're on the West Coast. So we logged on at like the 9:30 mark. Then we just kept getting like error messages. And then we got the thing from Ticketmaster being like, it's being postponed to 3 because the East Coast and like the middle time zones were just causing so much traffic and breakdown, etc. So then we hop on at 2:30. Get in at 3-ish. We're like, we get the 2,000 plus waiting in queue in front of you screen. And I think we got the tickets around 5 o'clock. So it was like a 3-hour wait or like 2.5 hour wait, but like pretty excruciating. And so this was like, and I feel like that was just the normal. Like, I feel like people would be like, that's not even bad. So I'll share a little bit what people were saying. So there's stories of people on Twitter, because I was on Twitter, Reddit, TikTok, like, well, all this was going on. And so there's stories of tons of people not getting tickets, even if they had the pre-sale code, waiting hours in line, like some people waiting like 8 hours, 12 hours, etc. People reselling tickets for like $12,000 on like StubHub and shit like that. They said that Ticketmaster gave out 1.5 pre-sale codes and 14 million people joined their site that morning on Tuesday, which it's like kind of also annoys me because it was like so clear that you only should have been there if you had a pre-sale code.
Right.
So like that's kind of annoying. And then so they gave out 1.5 million pre-sale codes. So we're assuming that's like you could buy up to 6 tickets. And then there was like all of this drama online about fans were disappointed with Taylor specifically and Ticketmaster because of the dynamic pricing scale. She didn't respond to everyone like having like the worst day of their lives. Like she said something about her Grammy because she was nominated for Song of the Year for All Too Well 10-minute version. And then today another Anti-Hero remix dropped, and it's like the fucking like 8th remix. A lot of the diehard Swifties didn't get tickets. Do you know the Bejeweled TikTok dance?
Yes.
The creator of that dance didn't get tickets.
Oh my God. Well, he'll get given them for sure.
I know. I was like, you're going
hookup.
backstage. Like, shut up. But
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh God. But like, it's like, I guess. And then it's just so funny going on Twitter now and just watching people being like, you know what? This is actually Taylor's fault. And when people are at the tour, like, they won't know the lyrics to her song, so she'll just be looking out at a bunch of fake fans. And I'm
oh
like,
my God.
girls, we need to lock it up. Like, what the fuck? Like, who are you to say that?
Yeah, if people are willing to spend their money to go see her, I'm like, good on you. I don't care
They're
if you know every
fans.
single
Yeah.
lyric. Yeah, like, I mean, I know what I spent on ticket. It was over $300 for like a okay
Same.
seat, but
Yeah.
like that's insane. Like that is a lot of money. I've never spent that much money on a ticket in that section. You know,
Same.
at a stadium.
I don't want my friends that I'm going with to listen to this because I know that they're going to listen to this and be like, oh my God, she's annoying as fuck. I had a bit of buyer's remorse. We spent like, yeah, 300-ish on like US on tickets, which comes out to about $475 Canadian. And afterwards I was like, damn, $475 is a lot of fucking money. And then add in the, like, I live in Victoria, which is on Vancouver Island, a different fucking country than Seattle that I have to go to. So, like, we'll be taking at least one ferry or driving through the mainland to get to Seattle. So, just thinking about the cost of hotels and travel expenses and food and stuff, I'm like, this is one weekend that's probably going to cost me like $1,000, whereas like some of my like entire vacations have cost $1,000.
Yeah. It's a huge outlay of money for a show that lasts 2 hours, you know?
Yes. And I'm very, very excited to go again. The only concerts I've been to in my life was like grade 12, I went to Backstreet Boys. And then second year uni, I went to Justin Bieber. That's like literally the only concerts I've ever been to.
Okay, but those are 2 like really good ones.
Such good ones. So I'm very excited. But like, yeah, so it's going to be, I think it'll be worth it. But I was just like, holy fuck, this is really expensive. And I was talking to like some of like my sister and Kirsten McInnes, also another friend of the pod. And I was like, are you gonna like try to get tickets at the general sale? And they're like, actually, like, I don't think so. Like, that's so expensive. Which brings us to today. So Tuesday happened, nightmare. Wednesday was the Capital One. Tickets went on sale, just as bad.
Oh, I tried to get in on that. Like, just error message after error message. I just gave up. Like, and I'm not usually one to give up, but at that point we already had the tickets and I was like, I don't need to be greedy. Like I was trying to get it for a better date so I didn't have to miss work, but I was like, it's not happening. Like,
right. And then today, Thursday, Ticketmaster tweets out, which I thought because of the new Elon era of Twitter and the blue checkmark situation, I thought this was straight up a joke. But Ticketmaster tweeted out that they're canceling the general sale, which was supposed to happen tomorrow. What are your thoughts?
I'm really dumbfounded because in all of my years of buying tickets, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that happen. And like, again, I thought Harry Styles ticket buying was bad. Like
Yeah.
I went through the ringer for that. Like for his MSG residency,
Yeah.
I tried, no joke, like during 6 different sales to get tickets. I could not get anything. My best friend who I went with works for Columbia. She could not even get anything. And so we bought tickets at MSG like an hour before the show started and somehow got like amazing face value tickets from Ticketmaster. So like maybe the Ticketmaster gods, they're like, we smiled on you once already this year. Like you're not getting, you know, a fan code.
Anything.
But I mean, that just goes like, I thought that was bad, you know, like I thought that process was miserable and it was nothing compared to this. And you would think that even though this was, you know, an unprecedented amount of people trying to get in, I'm sure 14 million is the most they've ever had try to get in. It's not like they haven't dealt with huge numbers of people. It shows me that this whole verified fan thing, while it's a step in the right direction, it's not good enough. It's not really
Exactly.
solving the issues. And I think
Totally.
you brought it up a little bit, but like the dynamic pricing thing, that to me is the most fucked up part of all.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to speak a little bit to that?
So this to me just started cropping up recently. It used to be that when Ticketmaster would have a sale, they wouldn't start pricing their tickets on what they call the platinum level until the general sale had already happened. Now they're pricing tickets at a platinum level, which means that the prices go up in price based on demand as you're buying them. So a ticket that was $200 can all of a sudden jump up to, you know, $600 because of this dynamic pricing that they've started doing. And it's caused a lot of people to like put a ticket in their basket, not even realizing that like it has now gone up in price so much and check out because you have to be so fast. And all of a sudden they're like, I just dropped over $1,000 on this. And to me, that's something that the artist can control 100%. They have contracts for these things. Like they could say that they don't want dynamic pricing. At least that's how my understanding of how it would work. I'm not their lawyers. I don't see these contracts, but I can't imagine that that's something that's not in Taylor's control to say.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's making bank on this. Like Taylor's in on this too.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think people are starting to slowly realize that because it's like she is like I've talked about on this podcast 1,000 times, like a capitalist at to her core. With all of her like fucking cheap merch and her 9 versions of the Midnights like vinyls and like shit like that. So Ticketmaster is now a conglomerate with Live Nation, and they have like exclusive contracts with most of the really large like football stadiums, which I think is like another reason for this, because if she was going to do a bunch of big venues, she needed to work with Ticketmaster versus like if she did smaller ones and could work with like, I guess, other ticket selling companies. But it's like if she's like the biggest pop star in the world, like you have to, I feel like, do the biggest venues.
Yeah.
And so, so she obviously came up with this plan, like her and her team with Ticketmaster, and I just still don't understand how they didn't account for the numbers and why they were so greedy. Like they knew that this shit was going to sell out and it was going to be the, you know, best sold like US concert in the world, like in history and like all of that. But like they had to do all of this additional shit like as well. It's disheartening for people.
Yeah. And that's why whenever people are like, oh, Taylor cares so much about her fans, Taylor cares about her bag. And Taylor knows that by creating parasocial relationships with her fans and creating this sort of like feverish frenzy of people so wanting the chance to be close to her and thinking that there's some chance that they will be plucked out of obscurity, that they will be one of like, you know, 25 people who gets chosen to go backstage and meet her. All of that just escalates into this thing where she's a puppet master. Like she has complete control. And it goes back to even, you know, when she would do like, I forget what she called it now. Was it Swiftmas, where she would leave like a little Santa on people's, you know, Tumblr account, and then she would show up and give them Christmas presents, giving this illusion that she has these really personal relationships with her fans that are so diehard, you know, have a million Twitter pages, fan pages about her. by giving those people like a chance to get closer, she gives everyone else hope that if we're just as good of a fan, if we just try just as hard, and if we make all these fan pages, we can do that too. And it's kind of gross. Like, I'm saying this as a hardcore Taylor fan, like
Same.
obsessed.
She's my favorite artist of all time. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
Honestly, same. I think
Yeah.
she's masterful at what she does. I love how she makes Easter eggs. I think she does think it's all fun, and I think she cares about her fans to an extent, but it's turning a blind eye to not think that this, at the end of the day, does have to do with marketing and money and getting her own, which she deserves. But I think it's going to cause backlash that she's in her next tour maybe going to have to, reel back a little bit from.
100%. So people are so upset that like there's been so much outrage online across every platform. People are consulting lawyers, starting class action lawsuits. People in I can't remember which state, but like it's but like literally it's gone to like local governments. People have started petitions, surveys. People were rewriting the lyrics to The Great War. and saying that this was their great war. Like, it's some of it like has given me a little bit of a chuckle because it's so ridiculous.
It's so dramatic. Over again, guys,
so dramatic.
It's a concert. Like,
Yeah.
I love concerts, but at the end of the day, like, life's gonna go on. I mean,
yeah.
But I don't know. But at the same, I feel so torn about it too, because I'm like, but I do get it. It's so frustrating. And
I know. And like when she hasn't gone on tour, like obviously Loverfest was canceled, devastating. Then the pandemic and stuff like that. So it's like when she hasn't toured in such a long time, there's just this, this drive to really like go to one of the shows. So I get how it feels life and death.
And I am so fascinated to watch which lawsuits actually come out of this, because, I mean, this is not the first time that Live Nation and Ticketmaster have been sued in class action suits. And I know for a while, they were having to pay out. I got a ton of like $10 off, $25 off codes from them. I think I got like 10 codes for money off for concerts because of some class action lawsuit that happened years ago. So they're not, foreign to this idea. They have the buku bucks to cover a lawsuit, to hire big law attorneys. Like, they're going to be fine. But I'm just wondering if, what really needs to happen is them to get in trouble, like on an antitrust law level, like breaking up this monopoly, because.
Yes, which AOC tweeted about.
Oh, really? What did she say?
She was saying this is a huge monopoly and it should not be allowed to have both of these companies like together as a conglomerate.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And I actually didn't know that, some of the venues sold through SeatGeek. And I didn't even know that. I thought SeatGeek only did resales. But I guess like in Arizona and Texas, some of their stadiums are contracted with SeatGeek.
Yeah.
So it
same
was
with
through
DC. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if SeatGeek had a better time in all of this, or if like they were equally.
I think
shitty.
It was slightly better because they just didn't have the numbers that Ticketmaster had. But I think it was the same issues with like pricing and shit.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see in 20 years from now, like, if we're actually going to have more competition, if you're going to see things like SeatGeek and StubHub all getting their own contracts with stadiums, so that this scenario isn't happening. Mm-hmm. But I still, again, I put blame on Taylor because I could be wrong on this. I think she's one of the first people who started using verified fan sales and like this idea of like Ticket Boost, where if you bought her CDs, you would get, I think she was like the first person to do that. So her team and they're really creative when it comes to this kind of stuff. They can figure it out. Mm-hmm. So
I know. And that I didn't like that either, because it was like, I was talking to my friend who was buying the tickets with me, and it was like, so you had to either listen to her music, which you could just put on a loop or whatever, or buy merch or like shit like that. So it's like, okay, only super rich people can go. Like, yeah, it sucks. And like, even me, I'm like a well-adjusted, like 30-year-old, and it's like, this is going to be the last concert I go to for like a fucking decade. Like,
well, honestly, some of the concerts I have the most fun at are the ones that I get for like $25 face value. They're at a small venue. Those are so fun, and like you get to be closer. It feels more intimate. So I recommend those. Those should, like, if you want a nice, fun concert, do that, because it's way less of a headache.
Yeah, 100%. Who's opening for Taylor for the Tampa show?
Biba Doobie, is that, I always say it, Biba Doobie? I think that's how you say it. And Gracie Abrams. Who do you guys have? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Haim and I think also Gracie Abrams.
Oh my God, Haim, that's iconic though. That's
I'm really excited for that, because it's like we'll probably get Nobody No Crime, and it like that's like another huge artist that we'll get to see. So I'm excited.
And they're only doing like one show, right? One or two, I think. Like they're not doing many.
They're not doing tons. So yeah, I feel super lucky that I'm going to one of those.
Again, your buyer's remorse will definitely fade day of concert, because at that point the like money spent is so far in the past that you're like,
I don't give a fuck. I'll like spend any more money. Like I'll be buying the like $12 like mocktail drink.
Exactly.
That, like, comes in like a Midnight's Tour cup and like shit like that. 100%.
And you're so happy. You're just like riding the high that it's all worth it in the end. But
absolutely. And I don't want to seem ungrateful, because like, again, like I know that there's so many people even probably listening to this that didn't have this as much luck that we had.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we move on, do you think that they will add more dates, announce the like Europe and Canadian legs of the tour before they go back on sale for like Gen Pop? Or do you think like they just really truly oversold the pre-sale and people are SOL?
I'm so confused about that, because my understanding of these pre-sales was always that there was a certain held back quota of tickets that they would sell, and then there was always going to be ones held for the general sale. So I'm like at a loss as to what exactly this hold up here, if this is just them like renegotiating contracts, if they're going to just push it back like you said, where they can get their shit figured out, get their software figured out. Like I don't know, because again, this really is kind of unprecedented. I've never heard of this happening before, so I'm intrigued. I don't know how they're going to handle the announcements of the other legs though, like where in the timeline that'll happen. I thought UK was going to be announced before the US, because I had heard like rumblings of them already like I just had heard about venues and stuff there, so I thought they were just going to announce it since people already knew. But I'm at a loss.
Me too. Yeah, I have no idea. And like the tweet again, so ambiguous and not super clear. There has been, I just checked while we were podcasting, since this news broke like 4 hours ago. We are recording on the Thursday. I checked, no response from Taylor except for it being retweeted by Taylor Nation. And then Ticketmaster has also not posted like a follow-up like thread or web page or like anything. So as of right now, we literally just have that like super ambiguous tweet.
Oh, and Taylor's not going to say shit about this. She's going to distance herself as much as possible. She doesn't want to be mixed up in all of this. She's going to like wash her hands of it, say nothing. That's my prediction. Like Taylor Nation might say something, but we're not going to get anything from Taylor Swift herself.
This is my prediction. Taylor Swift tweets and then like maybe reposts it to like her Instagram stories or something, and it's gonna be like, heard we broke numbers on Tuesday for like most tickets sold ever to a concert. Like, love you all and can't wait to see you on the road. And
literally then, just brushing under the rug. Yeah, just like so
clock
amazing.
Emoji, star emoji, and then she pieces the motherfucking scene. Like, seriously, because we know she will only comment on things that personally, like, affect her, like the fucking streaming services when they were, like, not paying their artists, like,
exactly
properly and stuff.
Exactly. So. She's going to be counting her money happily. She's good.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah.
And I also, and this is, like, actually my attempt at advice, like, no one go buy $12,000 tickets. Like, the prices will go down. Like, it's gonna be fine. Like, I think everyone can get tickets at a much more reasonable price as the dates get closer.
Yeah, or like literally take that $12,000. Not that anyone just has a cool 12 thou in their bank account, but like take that money and make it into your Euro trip and
Literally.
go see Taylor Swift in like fucking Ireland or something.
That's a genius idea.
Yeah, like use that. Like don't buy something in the US. Make like a fun week trip to, I don't know, Dublin or whatever. Like
yeah,
or come up to Canada.
Yes,
yeah.
You will have buyer's remorse if you spend $12,000 on a Taylor Swift ticket.
100%.
Sure.
100%. Like that's a new car. Like, well, not actually, but basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wild times. Well, this story, like I said, is still breaking, so we can update you all like as we get further updates.
When are you releasing the episode?
Sunday.
Okay, so maybe you can give an update at the end. Maybe we'll know more.
Yeah. That's a good idea because I'll probably edit on like Saturday, so hopefully there'll be like more news. Okay, this is now the part of the show where Bailey is going to nominate a Pettyweight Champion of the Week, someone in the media who did something petty and it was iconic. Who are you nominating this week?
I am nominating Ancestry.com. Have you heard this story about Ashley Tisdale and Austin Butler?
No.
Okay.
Oh my God, I'm
so fun.
So excited already.
Okay, so I just think this was so petty because little did I know that apparently Ancestry.com has their own podcast, which like, of course they do. You know, they're buying up everyone's DNA like that. If no one knows, that's what it's one of those DNA testing. Like, how do you describe that? Like you send in your DNA and then they tell you your ancestry.
Yes. Yeah. Like the saliva kits.
Yes. So they had Ashley Tisdale on their podcast. And so they were asking her like a multiple choice question. And they were like, which one of these celebrities are you related to? And the options were Zac Efron, Cole Sprouse and Dylan Sprouse, or Austin Butler. And she's like freaking out because she's like, I've like kissed like almost all of those men. Like she's like in acting, like not, you know, on my free time, but like I've kissed almost all of them.
Yes.
So she's like, I'm kind of mortified, but she says this like way cuter than I'm saying it right now, but she's like, but you know, like ever since I met Austin Butler, I just have always had like a really connection with him. Like he feels like a brother, and they are like 10th cousins, like once removed. So like it goes back many, like 10 generations back. They shared like a you know, grandparents or great grandparents. Isn't that hilarious? Like I thought it was so wild. Petty they brought it up. Like, and petty
that is fucking petty because it's like I feel like there was like kind of some like Ashley and Zach rumors before he got together with Vanessa, and then Austin Butler famously was her love interest in Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure.
Yeah, and then I mean, Cole and Dylan practically played like her brothers in The Sweet Life.
Yes.
So I thought their choices were just so petty and funny, and I just like love the story. And everyone should go watch the clip of her answering it because it's very sweet, and she does seem very close with Austin, which had me wondering like how that worked out with Vanessa, because you know Vanessa and Austin dated for so long.
Goes on to date. Yeah. That's so interesting. Yeah, such a small world it seems like. But also I feel like Ashley would be on this fucking Ancestry.com website or podcast because it's like I feel like is just like producing all of this content, but like none of it's like a movie or like
it's rogue. It's a little bit out there.
Yeah.
You know, she has her line at Target. She's got to pimp out. So
yes. Okay. So just wait. Her line at Target is a skincare line.
It seems like kind of beauty wellness. Like
yeah.
I saw it at Target the other day, but I didn't closely examine it. But it was near all of the like bath makeup stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a cash grab.
Yeah, but I kind of want to try it because I really enjoy Ashley Tisdale, honestly.
Me too. She has that star quality, like when you see people like Demi Lovato and stuff like that, Kelly Clarkson, like that you're just like, there's something in you that is like star quality, and I feel like Ashley has that.
Yeah, and she's just very endearing. I really liked her Architectural Digest, and
me too. She's very like cute and vivacious, and she's talented. Yeah. I want to see her in more stuff.
She's like Lindsay. I'm like, don't give her trash. Give her good shit. Like, I think she
know.
has the chops.
Yeah, 100%.
Justice for the Disney stars.
Yes, agreed. Okay, finally, it's time for This Week in Petty, where Bailey's going to share a story about something that happened in real life that she's petty about. What are you petty about this week?
Okay, this is going to make me sound like the biggest fuddy dud, but I was at a wedding this past weekend and the wedding was beautiful. It was for a family member. I had a great time. It was like a lovely wedding, but it had me thinking. And I was like, honestly, I'm so petty about the fact that at weddings, you are just like expected to dance.
Yes. Oh my God. Okay, this is so interesting to me because you're right. So you just weren't in the mood, or you're not a big dancer in general?
I am never in the mood. I'm not like a dancing girl. Like I feel so awkward doing it. Like I'll do it, especially because like I was like 5 tequilas deep. Like I'll do it, and I kind of am enjoying myself. But I'm one of those people. It's never like a comfortable, fun thing for me. So I kind of wish weddings had like different activities. Like I feel like it's always focused on the dancing, right? So it's either like you're dancing or you're just kind of sitting on the sidelines. And I think we need like another activity, like maybe like a karaoke little section.
Oh my God.
Or like honestly, I think I'd rather sing than dance. And I would like to have, maybe if I ever have a wedding, like we'll have that. We'll there'll be different stations, you know.
I love that idea. It's been about a year since I've attended a wedding, but I totally get that because it's like, also, like, I need breaks. I don't have the stamina to go from, like, 9 p.m. till 2 a.m. Like, I'm out of shape. Like, yeah, but it's like, if you're not dancing, then you're, like, the loser sitting at the table. So I agree.
And everyone's coming over, like, why aren't you dancing? And I'm like, because my quads hurt. And then, like, the next day, my quads hurt.
Yeah, I've been wearing high heels for 12 hours.
Literally. And I'm like, okay, make it more acceptable for me to be barefoot. And then maybe I'll be drop, lock in, whatever. Like,
yes.
Okay, but in general, you do like to dance, though? Like, you're...
Yes, okay. 100%. Like, yes, I will be up there. I have some of my friends, I was talking about this the other day, but some of my friends say that my dancing is like a woman with a baby at a wedding, where you have like the baby on your hip and you're just kind of doing like a side to side step. But like also, no, I feel like that's like maybe more sober me. But there's ranges. But yeah, I completely agree. Like there should be multiple activities at the same time.
Yeah.
I love that. So okay, you said karaoke. I was trying to think like what are other activities that we could have?
Yeah, I don't know what would be like hype, because I get it. Dancing is just the only thing that's like music, hype. Yeah, that's why all I can think of is like karaoke. But I don't know, just maybe just like more of like almost like a mosh pit where you're just like standing and sway, like you know, like pretending you're at a Taylor Swift concert. Like I like kind of like bob at a concert, but it's not the same as like being expected to full on dance. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, or like I was thinking like even just like pool tables, or because you know when you're like at a bar or at a club and there's the dance floor, but then you could also just like get a drink and like play pool, or like stand around the pool table, or like like
gambling. Gambling,
yes,
kind of fun.
Yes, gambling, any type of like. Yes, like fun game, but not like cards where you're like, well, not like Go Fish cards, but like games that are like still like a little bit high energy. Like
yes, I agree.
Yeah. I still feel like one of the like funnest. This is kind of, I feel like, wedding adjacent, but at my prom, which we call dry grad, because now they call it, I think, safe grad, but it's like you're expected to be sober. They rented out a gymnasium, and there was a dance floor, and then it was Vegas themed, so there was tons of like blackjack tables, like and tons of other games to play. And then they rented literally like 10, 15 of the inflatable, like the sumo suits, the where you're like on a balance beam and you're trying to knock the person off, the slides, the like laser tag, the like ball pit, like swing things, like just like tons of things. And I was like, it was literally so much fun because you could dance you could eat, you could drink, or you could like go, or you could sit, or you could go play one of those games.
That's incredible. I love that.
It'd be so expensive, but it was like so much fun. And then you could just like, because it was like in like such a big space, you could just like run around like with no shoes on, like you were saying, and just like go down the slide and fight your best friend on like the balance beam thing. It was super fun.
I love that. You've inspired me for my next party that I probably won't throw, but hypothetically.
Yeah, for our hypothetical weddings. But I love that. I feel like you should do a full show on the wedding industry.
There's a lot to talk about with it, that's for sure.
So much, just so much money, so much time.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you and anything else you want to plug?
Oh my gosh. So I would love if you listen to my podcast, Kind of Cute. I'm wherever you listen to podcasts. And then I'm at Bailey Evin or at Kind of Cute Podcast on Instagram and at Bailey Evin on TikTok, which is actually like my largest platform where I have the most followers. So I would love for you to join me over there. I love TikTok.
Yes. Oh my God. I need to get into TikTok. Okay. This was so much fun. Thanks again for coming on.
Oh my gosh. Torry, thank you so much for having me. This like made my Thursday. I feel calm going into my Friday now.
Good. I'm glad. Yeah. After the week we've had, these fucking tickets, we
getting to rant about Taylor was just, I loved it.
I know. It was so topical. So topical. And there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. And thank you to Bailey for joining me on today's episode. If you enjoyed today's episode, it's super helpful to write a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, if you're looking for a holiday gift in like a office work exchange or for your partner or for your family member, you can get RTBP merch. All links are in my bio. We have a keychain and a Starbucks cup, which you can get in a lot of different colors. I hope you are all safe and healthy out there. As always, I'm your host, Torry, and I'm ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.